everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to go over my summer TBR, and I know I'm a little bit late to the game, but I really took a minute to decide what I really wanted to read this summer. I'm going to be adding some things that I have already started reading that I felt like were perfect for summer, as well as recommend at the end books that I do not have on my summer TBR, but that I think would make a great summer read. So if you are needing suggestions for what you should read this summer, or if you are just looking for some great light reads and recommends, then I highly suggest sticking around to see, and I hope that you guys can find a couple of books that you would love to read this summer as well. So without further ado, I'm going to try and go over books by genres and try to suggest at least a couple in each genre for those who maybe aren't reading exactly the same like me. I will have something for everyone, except I will not have any horror suggestions. So if you are looking for horror, then this is not the video for you. So first I'm going to start with my cozy reads. There are so much more reads in the cozy section that I could suggest that give off the summer vibes, but the first one I'm going to have on my summer TBR is Delicious and Suspicious. This was recommended by Cortagonist, and I will link her channel below. And this is a new release that I thought just seemed so cute and fun, and it is a barbecue cozy mystery, and so I am excited to get into this. For some reason, the cover just really intrigues me, and my best friend Leah bought this for my birthday, so I'm really excited to get into it. But this says, welcome to Aunt Pat's Barbecue Restaurant, family run and located in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. Named in honor of Lulu Taylor's great aunt, the restaurant is known for its ribs and spicy cornbread, but now the Taylor family will be known for murder, unless Lulu can clear their name. So I think that this is going to be such a fun mystery. The next one, well, I should say the next two that I plan on reading is No Good Tea Goes Unpunished and Tide and Punishment. I may read more in the series this summer, but I'm just going to list these two. If you have not read Live and Let Try, that is the first one, and I highly suggest it. It was really fun, and I really enjoyed the banter between the two characters. So I would like to continue the series this summer. They are perfect summer cozies because they take place in the Outer Banks. And so if you are looking for just a cute, cozy mystery with some comedy and fun banter, then I highly suggest reading these. I'm not going to read the backs of them though, because if you haven't read the first, it may spoil something. So that I feel like is going to be super fun. I plan on taking this one specifically to the beach next week. And then next I'm going to go over some romance reads on my TBR for the summer. So the first one I have on my list is Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. I just put this one on here because of the color. I feel like it looks summery to me. And also it is the last Abby Jimenez book that I have to read. And I have loved almost all of her books, and so I'm super excited to read it, but also a little sad because I won't have any more of hers to read for a while. But this one is the third in a series. They are interconnected standalone, so you don't have to read them together in order, but it is recommended to do it that way. When Vanessa Price quit her job to pursue her dream of traveling the globe, she wasn't expecting to gain millions of YouTube followers who shared her joy of seizing every moment. For her, living each day is to its fullest isn't just a motto. Her mother and sister never saw the age of 30, and Vanessa doesn't want to take anything for granted. But after her half-sister suddenly leaves Vanessa in custody of her baby daughter, life goes from daily adventure to next level bad. The last person Vanessa expects to show up offering help is the hot lawyer next door, Adrian Copeland. After all, she barely knows him. No one warned her that he was the secret baby tamer, or that she'd be spending a whole lot of time with him and his geriatric chihuahua. Now she's feeling things she's vowed not to feel, because the only thing worse than falling for Adrian is finding a little hope for a future she may never see. And a fun fact, if you don't already know, is that Abby Jimenez has a dog. I think it's always a dog, correct me if I'm wrong, in almost every book of hers, so it's fun. The next book I have on my summer list is The 7-Year Slip, also just because of the colors. And this one was my pick by Gwen for my TBR this month, so I will be taking this with me to the beach if I don't read it sooner. And this is going to be my first Ashley Poston book. And as far as I know, this is like a past, present, kind of different timeline romance where someone from the future is also in love with someone from the past. So kind of like some movies I'm trying to think of. Oh, The Lake House, I think, is what it reminds me of, just the description. So I'm not sure if I'll like it. It's not my typical romance that I pick up, but I'm not gonna say, but I for sure don't think I'll like it. I know that my friend Leah didn't love it, but I am excited to get into this, and I know that this is one of everyone's favorites, and so I am just excited to try it out. Also, fun fact, one of my favorite new authors that I've discovered, Carly Fortune, annotates this and says that a gorgeous love story from one of the finest romance writers out there. So I feel like that makes me excited that she also is suggesting to read this. The next book I have on my list is The Summer I Turned Pretty. I have watched the show and I love the show, but I was encouraged by Keisha to try the books because they are a little different, and I love the show enough that I actually do want to go back and read the books, and I also think this would be a perfect beach read. I'm planning to read this at the beach actually, and it's short, it's a young adult romance, and it has love triangles, and it basically is them going every year and spending the same summer at the beach house with their moms who are best friends, and when she grows up she starts to have feelings for one of the brothers in particular, but then also wonders if she's having feelings for a different brother. And so the show is so good. It has lots of emotion packed in it and just fun, and it's just super cute and heartwarming, so I'm excited to read it, also knowing that it is a clean romance because it's YA. The next book I have on my list is The Summer Will Be Different. I have read the first two in Carly Fortune this summer and I love them. I didn't love the middle one as much as the first one, but it was still good, and so I'm super excited to get into this. I just feel like her books are just beautiful. Like the summer aesthetic on all of her books are just phenomenal in my opinion, and it just makes me want to pick up the books. So this is about Lucy, who is a tourist vacationing at a beach house on Prince Edward Island. Felix is the local who shows her a very good time. The only problem is Lucy doesn't know he's her best friend's younger brother. Lucy and Felix's chemistry is unreal, but the list of reasons why they need to stay away from each other is long, and they vow to never repeat that electric night. It's easier said than done. Not going to read it all, but there's just a little snippet of what it's about. So then the next book that I have on my summer TBR is The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie. I actually don't know a lot about this, and I'm going to go in blind, so I suggest looking up on Goodreads if you want to read more about it. But I don't know if this is literary fiction or if it's just general fiction. Either way, I feel like so many people I know love this book, and it just screams summer to me, and so I am excited to try this out and see if I'm enjoying it. There is a little snippet I'll read, an uplifting novel about a heartbroken young pie maker who is granted a magical second chance to live the life she did not choose, from the best-selling author of The Enlightenment of Bees. And I also just think this could be like a cozy. I'm not for sure, so I will have to really look into that if it's a cozy or not, but it just seems like a really sweet read. So then the next two suggestions that I'm going to give you are Christian reads, but they are not going to be on my TBR, and those are Well-Watered Woman and Help for the Hungry Soul. These both just scream summer to me if you're looking for a devotional over the summertime. This is an absolute all-time favorite for me, and I will be rereading it. It was life-changing for me, and the flowers to me and the gardening references just remind me of summer. And this one is a recent read for me, Help for the Hungry Soul. I think of summer because of the oranges, and this just encourages you to dig more into the Word and to just grow your appetite for the Word. Both of these actually are very similar in that, and so I highly recommend these as devotionals over the summertime. The next things that I have on my list are 2 historical fictions. So the first one I have on my list is Summer Island by Kristen Hanna. It's pretty obvious why I picked this for the summer, as you can see, but I love Kristen Hanna. I will read everything she's ever written. I adore her so much, and I almost always give it a 5 or a 4 star, and so I'm really excited to just add another one of her books to my list that I love. I'm working my way through her backlist, and so this one I think is more of just a, I don't know how much of a historical fiction this is. Years ago, Nora Bridge walked out on her marriage and left her daughters behind. She has since become a celebrity radio talk show host and newspaper columnist beloved for her moral advice. Her youngest daughter, Ruby, is a struggling comedian who uses her famous mother as fuel for her bitter, cynical humor. When the tabloids unearth a scandal in Nora's past, her career implodes and Ruby gets her big break. She is offered a fortune to write an unflattering tell-all article about her mother. Under false pretenses, Ruby returns home to talk to the woman she hasn't spoken to for almost a decade. Home. To the house on Summer Island where Ruby grew up, a place filled with childhood memories of love and joy and belonging. There, as Ruby is reunited with old friends, what began as an expose evolves into an exploration of her family's troubled past. In picking apart her mother's life, Ruby has no choice but to examine her own. As the magazine deadline draws near and Ruby finishes the story that has begun to feel like an act of brutal betrayal, she is forced to make a choice not only about the past but about the future. The truth is not as simple as she'd once imagined. Summer Island is a beautiful novel, at once funny, tender, sad, and ultimately triumphant. And the Library Journal says it is a warm and touching story about a very human character whose personal situations come to life with realism and sensitivity. So I guess I would put this probably more in general fiction. I know that Kristen Hanna used to not write as much historical fiction, but has now really gone into that genre and she excels at it. So I do think this is probably more on the general fiction side. However, I have already read some in that genre and still absolutely loved her writing. I just think that she is truly a very gifted writer. In general, it doesn't really matter what she writes. I just feel that it's very poetic and deep, and she just really pulls at your heartstrings in whatever she writes. So I'm sorry about that, that I listed that as a historical fiction. But this one is a historical fiction, River Sing Me Home, and I believe that it won some awards. I know it says Good Morning America Book Club, a GMA Book Club pick, and I believe it won some awards on Goodreads. And it's rare, moving, powerful. This beautiful, page-turning, and redemptive story of a mother's gripping journey across the Caribbean to find her stolen children in the aftermath of slavery is a remarkable debut. So this is a debut author, and I just have heard nothing but great things about it, and so I'm hoping to get into this. I picked this for summer because of the beautiful colors. They just scream paradise to me, although I know that's not what the book is about. I just think if you're looking for a historical fiction read, this one just gives me the summer vibes based on the cover. Then next I have picked for my summer fantasy reads. You all are going to laugh at me. I will tell you why here in a second, but the first one I have is Spark of the Everflame. I have already actually read this and crossed it off my Summer TBR. I loved this so much. I gave it a 4.5 star, and this is following a mortal who has some interesting traits that possibly suggest that she is not mortal, and there is also the descendant who are immortal and have powers and are royal and just kind of look down upon all of the mortals, and she goes in as a healer and is someone that they just basically employ in the royal castle to help heal people. And this is where she starts to realize there is some things about her past that maybe she didn't know, and it is just so good. It was exactly what I was needing in that moment. I read this for Spark of Sam's book club. I think it's something Starlight. I'll link it below, but The discussion is coming up soon. If you want to go ahead and read it and jump on that book discussion, highly recommend it. It was such a good time. I really enjoyed it. And then this is the one I think you're gonna laugh at me for, and that is Priory of the Orange Tree. Do we think that I can read this before summer is over? Probably not. However, I picked this one because one, this book is huge, and there really isn't going to ever be a good time to add this to my TBR, but I wanted to add some fantasies that look kind of summery to me, and it has orange tree in the name and it's yellow. So that was my thinking here. Oranges just make me think of summer. Do I think this has much to do with oranges? I'm not really sure, but it's in the title. So we're gonna try it out. I know there are dragons. I know that this is one of a lot of people's favorite fantasies. It is a very huge commitment, but one I am really excited about. But I just may not get to this over the summer, but I'm sure gonna try. So if you are looking for a challenge this summer, maybe look into this one. I just think that it seems like a really, really epic fantasy, and it just kind of gives me the summery vibes. Then the last ones I have listed are thrillers. Now, I'm not a huge thriller person, but I do like to read them now and again. Riley Sager. And so the first one I have is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was the TBR pick by Jules for me this month, and I do plan to take this to the beach and read it probably on the way with audiobook. I have heard that a lot of people really love this book, and so it has me really intrigued. I have not read a Taylor Jenkins Reid yet, so this will be my very first, but I know so many people love her writing. And this one is it says, 4 famous siblings throw an epic party to celebrate the end of the summer, but over the course of 24 hours, their lives will change forever. And that is all I'm going to read about this, because for thrillers, I personally prefer to not know a lot about it. So look it up on Goodreads if you're wanting some more suggestions, but I definitely think this gives off summer vibes, as you can tell by the cover. And then last but not least is Riley Sager's new release, Middle of the Night. As you saw in my Riley Sager vlog, I will link below. I just recently met him and I got this book signed by him, and I am so excited about it. And I have not even started this. And I know, like, okay, you went to a book signing, how could you not start it right away? I don't know. I just had so many other books I was in the middle of, and I'm hoping to get to this by the end of the summer. This does remind me of summer. I don't know why, really. It just, for me, gives me summer vibes. But sadly, I'm hearing a lot of mixed reviews on this, and so I am hoping that I love it. So the last books I'm gonna go over are books that I do not have on my summer TBR, but I think would make great summer reads. And that would be Mary Kay Andrews' The High Tide Club. I suggest this because I think that she just in general writes summer reads, and I've heard a lot of people love her. They're general fiction, I believe, for the most part. And I'm excited to hopefully, if I have time, get to this over the summer, but it's definitely not on my summer TBR. I do want to try one of her books. I haven't yet tried her, or another one she reminds me of is Ellen Hildebrandt. I always see them all over the shelves, and they have a lot of summery reads. So I do want to try it, but I've heard that a lot of people really like her. So I would suggest trying this book or one of her summer reads because she is well loved. And then the next book that I'm going to suggest is a cozy mystery I may or may not get to, and it is Farm to Trouble. This reminds me of summer, obviously, because of gardening, and I am excited to get into this because I love gardening and I love just planting, and I want to have a farm. So it's just on my list of want to read, but I don't know for sure if I'll have time over the summer. And then is Love and Gelato. This is another young adult read, romance read. This gives me the summer vibes because of the ice cream and just the cover. I just think that this would be a cute read. It also says Lena is spending the summer in Tuscany, so it takes place during the summer. So I think this would be a great YA romance summer read if you are looking for one. I know that I've heard really good things about it. And the very last book that I have, which I have already read, is the rule book. I suggest this one based on just the cover. It gives off all the summer vibes. I absolutely adored this one. I gave it 5 stars. The banter is amazing. The romance is so beautiful. The comedy with the guys on the football team is top notch for me. I highly recommend reading this one. This is a second in the series, so you're probably going to want to read the cheat sheet first. I do feel like if you plan on reading the cheat sheet, you should read it first because it does kind of talk about that book some. But if you're not planning on reading the cheat sheet, or if you DNF'd it and didn't like it, you can still go into this one and absolutely love it. I did finish the cheat sheet. I didn't enjoy it, but this one, in my opinion, is so much better. So those are all of my summer suggestions right now. There are so many more I could give you, but that might take all day. I hope you found something that you would love to read over the summer. And if you have any that you want to suggest to me below that I don't have listed, I would love to hear your thoughts if you think it's something that I would enjoy, especially if it's a fantasy. I really am wanting to get back to my roots and just read more fantasy because that is my lane and I've just been really missing it, and I feel like it's hard to find some summer fantasies. So please leave in the comments below if there's a fantasy summer read suggestion that you have, and if you don't know what to put, go ahead and leave a summer themed emoji, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!